Anyone on Zoom, can we please join with the second meeting code that I've put onto the chat? You can literally click on it, supposedly, and join. Admit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you can see Sid. Sid's in a new place.
Moving house and they're really not like.
Sid, do you like how you got a haircut? It looks really good.
It counts.
Hold on. Why did you take the light off again? Everyone wants to see your haircut.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
He says the light is too hot. All right.
Yeah, I'm changing one. You're gonna get one on some stuff. No, I'm like.
Okay. All right.
Oh my. You haven't heard the term in like 1.5 years.
Okay.
Oh my.
We're doing another exam.
So this morning last
Take a copy, guys. Oh, you're gonna need one more.
look, I can't get within 10 feet of a drive. Only my.
All right, we've got everyone across, which means
My bonus, yeah. Like, oh.
I don't have a full weight center.
Does anyone else in the class have? I mean, if you didn't have it, like, that'd be fun.
it would be quite embarrassing, but I do, so it's okay.
That's great.
I'm a reckless driver, but just no one should have given me my license.
That's.
Max, I don't think you can talk. I've heard many things about your driving skills.
Oh. What is house? No, I didn't even say anything about your drive.
I'm not going to dog anyone, but I've heard about your driving.
Jesus.
Sure, okay, if you say so.
I'm productive. More productive.
All right.
Not fair by anyone. That's similar. Because it's the same name, it's a different color. And yours worse.
Okay, let's get started. By the way, I've actually put up this exam on the I'm assuming that this exam wasn't on the Digify, so I put it up. So for those that want to see, it's on there. All right.
You're talking about all the things.
So
when you after you, I'm literally like tired.
what? That's a little bit harsh, don't you think?
But who's your favorite problem? Yeah, well, according to Tom God. According to Tom God. According to Tom God, I'm the real God. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. The professor. I need me. But you eat dog. Don't talk to your dog either, bro.
What's wrong with dal?
No, you're not a real god, you eat dog.
I eat dal.
You have to eat full meat diet, no vegetables.
You'd be dead. You'd be dead. You'd die of a heart attack at the age of 12. I don't think Jordan Peterson's
In my ancestors.
Why has it done it this way? That looks really retarded. Print. What happens if I try print it? You can see all the people I talked to in my life. Literally teachers from high
Who's
Q.
Rosie?
Rosie's one of the teachers.
Oh, who's Ethan?
Ethan's the guy teaching next door. He's quench for today.
Yeah.
That's enough for
I'll pass you a message.
Everyone reacts with love hearts to my messages. I'm very nice.
Maybe it's just him, you know. Maybe it's just him.
I don't think so.
Who's Kahan?
Kahan is also one of the teachers here.
It's like 90.
What if I open in Safari? Yes, I want to download it. Print. Yeah, he's turning 19 this year.
Oh, he hasn't turned 90. Yeah, he was.
And say it again.
That means who's the just
This is taking up a lot more effort than I thought it would.
40% of a stroke. It's all right.
Yes, I can. Absolutely, I can turn the aircon on.
You first thing that's
Yeah, but you're wearing it. How do you know?
oh, who's better? Who's better at homeostasis? This guy.
That's a really weird flex to make, but cool.
Who's got the better heart? That's me.
Alright, I will talk about homeostasis. I refuse to do this.
All right.
Pituitary bone, anterior, posterior, hypothalamus, medulla oblongata. Crazy.
So we're doing. This is not a WATP. Have I printed? I've literally downloaded the wrong one. Oh my god, I'm such a retard. This is year 11 exam. This is the one I want. All right, this is going to be much easier. That's more like it. All right, we are doing this exam. So, multi-choice. Let's get started. Sid wants to know if Aaron is feeling lonely. He says no, Sid. All right, question 1 refers to the diagram below showing homeostatic control of the thyroid gland activity. Which of the following statements is correct? So hormone A is going to be thyroid stimulating hormone releasing factor. Hormone B is not thyroxine. What is hormone B? TSH. So we know that A is wrong, we know that B is wrong, and we know that D is wrong from that, yes? Which really only leaves C as an option, and hormone B is THS, hormone C is thyroxine, and process E is negative feedback. Sid says it's very lovely that you're alone. It's such a, why are you being such a pest and you're not even here? Leave the poor boy alone.
That's funny
Sarah was born with some brain damage that caused her speech to become incoherent, even though she understood what was being said to her. Which lobe of the brain is most likely to be affected? So what controls speech? Yes. Speech motor processes are done by the frontal lobe. So if she had an inability to understand, what kind of area would that have affected?
Right. Oh, wait.
So it's still frontal, because frontal is involved in speech, but there's a specific, so that you have your motor area, association, and sensory. Which one's affected if it's it's either going to be sensory or association if you have the inability to understand. Yeah? She says like she understands what is being said to her. So it's either sensory that's an issue, or it's going to be the association. All right, heart rate respiration is controlled by the, so C. Damage to the part of the brain labeled D. D is a hypothalamus. Hypothalamus controls what? Oh, sorry, cerebellum. Yes, what does the cerebellum control? And? What else does it control? Posture and? Balance. Thank you, Max. I apologize. Which of the following is the correct response to a sympathetic stimulation? Well, that's pretty easy. It does increase heart rate, but it causes the pupils to dilate. It decreases the rate of digestion. I'm going to go with C. Would you guys agree? Which of the following processes results in gene pool changes due to a small number of members from original population moving away and becoming isolated? Speciation occurs due to mutation, selection, pressures, and adaptation. I reckon that's it. Whoever puts D as answer for A, I pray for you. Tay-Sachs disease, it's autosomal recessive, it's not dominant. It doesn't result in shaking and uncoordinated movements. It is seen in some Jewish populations. Do we Tay-Sachs disease, you'd be dead, so that's why it's worse. Huh?
No.
Well, yeah, it would be worse because you have to live with it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather be dead.
You'd rather be dead than you
It's a disorder that affects lipid metabolism. Remember, it affects the enzyme that breaks down the fat that accumulates around the brain.
Do you happen to know the specific enzyme? Beta, exercise method?
Never. Bioinformatics. You literally look for the answer that says one keyword. Yeah. Answer's A. So, technique of recombinant DNA can be used to produce vaccines and hormone. This technique will require restriction enzymes to cut open bacterial plasmids. That sounds about right. Okay, what is gene therapy again?
Replacing the unhealthy gene.
Yeah, replacing faulty genes with healthy ones. All right. Next question. Which of the following statements provide support for evolution using comparative studies of anatomy? Well, yeah, because first one's not talking about anatomy, neither is the second one, neither is C, so literally D. Okay, an example of natural passive. Natural passive is or the center. An evolutionary trend in the primates can be described as an increase in digit mobility? A trend would mean that we would have the smallest cranial capacity.
Oh, decrease.
Okay, I don't think.
Yes, you do. So, according to the phylogenetic tree above, which of the following is true? So, gorillas are more closely related to orangutans than they are related to bonobos. Not necessarily. Chimpanzees and humans. How do we know that A is not correct? I have to make sure that you guys understand this. How do we see, what is the definition of more closely related? Yeah, has the most recent common ancestor. So if we're comparing gorillas and orangutans, their common ancestor was 2 generations ago. If we're comparing bonobos and gorillas, their common ancestor was 1 and 2. Do you get where that's coming from?
Yeah.
Okay. Chimpanzees and humans are the most closely related species on the tree. Yes or no? Why not? Who is? Bonobo and chimpanzee, because they have a more closely related ancestor. Gorillas are as closely related to bonobos as are to chimpanzees. Yes or no? Yeah, because both of them have a common ancestor 3 generations ago. So the answer is C. Which of the following is not a function of mast cells during inflammations? So mast cells, they do release histamine, they do produce heparin, and they do attract macrophages. Those are the exact 3 things they actually do. The only thing they don't do is they are not phagocytes, so they don't go through phagocytosis. So the answer is B. This is a good exam. During cell-mediated immune response, T lymphocytes enter the bone marrow before generating, may produce cytokines to attract macrophages. Yes or no?
Yeah,
Helper T cells will. Okay, if you're not sure, you know that it's not A, C, and D. Okay, Homo habilis had a smaller cranial capacity than Homo erectus. Homo habilis had a larger forehead than Homo erectus. Is that true or false? That's correct. So habilis had a smaller forehead. Homo habilis has a more prognathic face, yes. A student examining the fossilized spinal column of a bipedal primate would observe. So what is unique to a bipedal primate?
That's it.
Yep, so it's going to be the lumbar is unique to us, okay? And the answer is therefore going to be C. Wait, no, it's not. It's A. So you need that support to carry the weight on 2 feet. All right, 20. Neurotransmitters are released from the synaptic cleft when what ion increases? It's not potassium.
Calcium.
Yeah. will diffuse across a synaptic cleft and stimulate receptors on the dendrite. Yes. A comparison between hormone action and nerve action will show that hormones are not more specific, they're more broad, act to slow body functions, again, not necessarily. Influence target cells in short term, no, they influence long term, are chemical in nature, while nerves combine chemical and electrical processes. Okay. You guys all should know who tool B was made by. Who's tool B's? Who made tool B? Yep, and it is part of B. Okay, and that's actually the answer as well. What do we think tool A is? No. Lutein is leaf shaped. This is teardrop shaped. What's teardrop shaped? No, Magdalenian is not teardrop shaped. Acheulean is teardrop shaped. This is from the side. Sorry, yeah, that's how they do it. Which of the following statements is correct? Tool A coincides with the emergence of fire. Yes, because that's Homo erectus. Genetic mutations can be considered necessary for evolution because they provide, or they produce what? Produce variation. What of those four? Yeah, D. D is produces variation. During DNA replication, a base or series of bases may fail to be copied to a new DNA strand. This would be termed a deletion. Okay, hyperthyroidism, bulging eyes and weight loss, which you will not treat by thyroxine tablets. You'll probably kill someone if you did that. Irritability. I'm liking the look of B. What do you guys think? Yeah. Thyroxine, remember, it's basically, you can think of it, it's just stimulating majority of processes. So it's going to increase temperature, increase weight loss, increase heart rate, increase peristalsis, everything just increases. The parathyroid gland produces a hormone that will affect calcium levels in bones. 28. What kind of neuron is that? Pseudounipolar or a sensory? So where would you find it? Yes. All right, person with Parkinson's disease. So do we remember what Parkinson's affects? What kind of neurons? Dopamine. Yeah, Parkinson's is dopaminergic neurons, or neurons that use dopamine. And Alzheimer's is acetylcholine, and it creates tarcs and plangles. No, plaques and tangles. Oh my God. I seriously am so stuffed today. So these guys, most commonly, yes, they'll have poor muscle coordination, but they're like, it's known to cause tremors. It is hoped that Parkinson's disease could be treated with cell replacement therapy. Cell replacement therapy requires what? Yeah, a source of undifferentiated stem cells or developed stem lines. All right. short answer. Here we go. Define the term antigen. So an antigen is anything that can cause a what kind of immune response? You're on the right track, but not non-specific. They have to have the ability to launch a
Specific.
any substance capable any substance I think Kunda's just sad that Haiku can run without him for a day. I almost felt like he was wishing that when he told me that there was some problem. How many times did he ask me if everything was okay?
Yeah.
10 times. Kunda's flight did land, so he's stuck in India and he's reaching tonight.
When do you?
Tonight.
Oh.
So we'll be here to teach you guys tomorrow. If his flight, for some reason, if his dodgy Thai flight doesn't make it here, my mum will have to come teach.
Oh, damn.
Any substance capable of creating a specific immune response. All right, state two differences between virus and bacteria. So what have we got? There's a lot of differences.
Cell structure.
I don't need a table. It's just sentences. I wouldn't necessarily say cellular. I would say that bacteria are living while viruses are non-living.
Oh, yeah, that's right. What's the thing?
And viruses
Bacteria reproduces through binary.
No, that's the same thing.
are non-living.
What's the reason?
You're on the right track. So bacteria, because they are cellular, they can reproduce by themselves. Viruses, what do they rely on to reproduce? Yeah. Bacteria reproduce by themselves.
Do we have to know the term?
No. While viruses rely on host cells. Okay, what does bacteria contain when we're looking at genetic material? Yep, what does viruses contain? Yep, bacteria contain DNA. Viruses contain DNA or RNA. All right, what is a bacterial cell surrounded by? Or what's the outermost layer of a bacterial cell? Bacteria surrounded by cell wall? What about viruses? What are viruses surrounded by? Yep. Surrounded by a cell wall. Viruses surrounded by a lipoprotein coat. And some have a protein envelope. Which one can you see through a microscope? Which one can you, yeah, so bacteria you can see through a light microscope. Viruses you cannot. Has to be an electron microscope. I've run out of room. But any of those two would have done. Okay, state the type of immunity that vaccination provides. It provides what kind?
I think it's 3 life.
Artificial active.
This is 3 life, right?
Yeah, but you got to write artificial
Immunity.
Sorry. Okay. Explain how the vaccine caused the production of antibodies against COVID. So, I know that this is a bit odd, but I will start off with saying, just to make sure it's there, that the vaccine contains antibodies, antigens. And I hope I don't kill anyone tomorrow. This is like my week, no, this is my weekend from hell, because usually I get today off. And then tomorrow I start at 8 o'clock in the morning and I don't finish till 6 a.m. on Tuesday. It is a little bit.
Literally no breaks.
Well, I'm on call. I'm on call the whole night.
I'm 46 hours, yeah.
Yeah. I used to do it where I would start at 8 o'clock on the Monday and I wouldn't finish until 4 o'clock on Tuesday. And I used to like crash afterwards.
That on call?
Yeah, so between the two places, I'd go into work and I'd be on call, I'd go into work and I'd be on call. But I've changed my timetable so I get to sleep in on Tuesday and I go to work that night.
Oh.
It's small pleasures. Yeah, I hope I don't kill anyone tomorrow. I had a bird that was seizuring yesterday, and then they're like, "What do we do?" I'm like, I don't know. But I was thinking, and I was like, "Yeah, no, we can definitely help you out. It's usually supportive care, and we'd use what did I say? We'd use anticonvulsants. I'll put them in the case notes for you, so you know the doses of things to give." I hung up on the vet, and I called my boss. I was like, "Do you know what to do with the bird that's seizuring?" And he said, "Nope." I'm like, "Great, I will make it up." And I did.
So just anticonvulsants.
Yeah, I looked into it. And you can give birds diazepam, I learned. And you can give them, this is a weird one, you can give them diphenhydramine, which is basically like your sedating antihistamines. Supposedly that helps. I don't know if the bird survived. Why would you give your birds chocolate and coffee? I don't know.
But what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's selection.
It's not the bird's fault.
It's not the bird's fault, yeah.
We
That's
need-
not natural selection.
Yeah. I made that shit up, but I sounded so good in those case notes. Like, this vet practiced me how to deal with this bird to the nth degree.
I don't die as a time get out of the rooster.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can give roosters diazepam.
Yeah, but my dad did.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
He had a bunch of roosters. And it was just one time they occasionally have seed. He was after
So you gave, see, you were the person I needed to call your dad. I'd be like, what did you give a seizuring bird?
Yeah, he just gave it some like
Vaccine contains antigens.
No.
Oh my God.
Was that actually?
Which one? Oh no, no, not the mutation. I thought you were talking about the. Oh, I haven't told you that video. It's the one that.
I'm curious though, like what does a bird that's seizuring look like?
Oh, it just looks like this. Apparently, it just looks like it's about to die. It's like squawking at the same time, but it's like on the floor. Like you never see a bird fall on the floor, like right? But it was it just falls on the floor and starts like spazzing out.
That's really weird.
Yeah. So he went to the store.
But that is, yeah, that's fair.
No, that's what they did. I'll just get it.
Well, your dad's a doctor, you can write a script.
He wasn't a doctor at the time.
Oh, okay. So he was just like, oh, let's just try diazepam.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things you can't give animals, right? Like if you give diazepam to a dog, for example, like 50-50 chance that they'll either go the opposite way and get really super excited and get worse, or they'll become sedated. You don't know which way they'll go.
Well, we had 18 roosters, so I don't think it would matter.
It's in India, who cares?
Yeah.
All right, so vaccines contain antigens, and when administered, what happens?
Consumed by food.
Yep. Yep, so consumed, so antigen is consumed by macrophage, which will become the antigen presenting cell. You don't actually have to write that, but yes, which presents the antigen to what? Yep, an immature B cell. What happens to that B cell? Yep, so B cell becomes sensitized. And then it increases, it goes, and then undergoes a period of growth. That's the way I like to word it. Period of growth. And then what happens? Yep. Then proliferates. To form and what do the plasma cells do? Bones. Plasma and memory. And then plasma cells produce, oops, one too many L's, produces antigens. Jesus. I'm seriously, what if I tell someone to like give the wrong drug tomorrow? I'd actually kill someone. I'm not working as a farmer, I'm working as poisons.
Yeah, I mean, that's that. The worst.
Humans and animals. I'm doing both.
Oh, yeah, very simple. What they call
Oh dear.
Have you ever had a toddler consume bleach?
A what? Toddler? Oh, heaps of toddlers.
Oh,
Heaps and heaps.
yeah.
Why did you do it as a kid?
No. I have done things, but no.
Yeah. I'm giving a presentation to parents on like exposures that kids commonly have to teach them not to be idiots. So Explain why a booster vaccination might be necessary to provide protection against the vaccine. So, why do we need to?
The memory cells become less over time.
Yep, number of memory cells. Decline over time. So what does a booster do? Yeah, booster vaccines reintroduce the antigen. The same antigen. And what happens in secondary exposure?
Memory cell produces more than they produce. They stay for a long time.
Yeah, so we produce more at a greater rate and they stay for a long period of time. Produce the.
For that memory cells.
Mhm.
So not for antibodies?
Yeah,
No. But what about memory cells? Do we produce more and faster?
no,
Oh.
no, just antibodies. Same antigen. So secondary response produces a larger amount of antibodies faster that remain extended period of time. Oh yeah, because you guys weren't allowed to get 3, were you? You were too young to get 3 when they came out.
No. I was at a certain point, but then I couldn't be bothered.
I had to get it, but it was a waste of time because when I got COVID, it was like not even a cold.
Yeah.
I had a runny nose for a day and I was stuck in my room for 2 weeks. I was like, just kill me now.
Well, once you have COVID, you don't really need the vaccine anymore.
Yeah, but even when I did have COVID, I was like a year after I had my last vaccine and I still didn't get sick. So what's the point? My immune system just told it to, whatever. All right. One of the symptoms of COVID is fever resulting in a high body temperature for prolonged periods. Explain how a fever that lasts more than 24 hours may be harmful to the body. So what does a fever do? Okay, and what temperature do we not want to go above?
45.
Okay, yes, that you'll be dead. But even if you go above 37, what starts to happen?
Oh,
Yep. Okay. So fever causes the body temperature to increase beyond the optimal temperature of 37 degrees Celsius, which causes enzymes to denature slowing down. Do you know what commonly happens to people that have a prolonged fever? Not liver failure.
That's right. Cheers.
Liver failure is what happens if you take too much of the treatment for a fever. No, you won't. Literally the opposite. Hasn't anyone ever heard what happens if people get seizures? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what they worry about with kids when they get fevers, that they'll have seizures.
Why was it?
They're more prone to it. We have more capacity to, but it's very common in kids that have fevers, they'll start seizing. And then you give them some diazepam. Diazepam is my favorite drug in the world. It solves everyone's problems.
Turmeric's better.
No, it's not. Diazepam is way better than turmeric.
Can turmeric solve the evil eye? I mean, can diazepam solve the
Yes, diazepam can solve everything. Diazepam is the solution to everyone's problems. Maybe you should try some and then we'll see how you feel about it. He'll go home to his dad and be like, I got told that I need to try some diazepam.
Yes, and my dad will prescribe it to me immediately. He's a neurologist, we can clearly see it.
You don't need to be a neurologist to prescribe diazepam.
No, because,
Wait, is he actually a neurologist?
yeah.
Then he can definitely prescribe it.
No, I'm saying that, why would he prescribe it?
You know, just to know what it feels like.
I just finished this image. It's definitely. It's more than
Don't drink eucalyptus. All right. Question G. Provide 3 possible reasons for the decrease in incidence of these diseases. So, what have we been doing?
Social distancing.
Social distancing prevents spread by what? Contact and? Wonderful. Social distancing. So this is 1. Prevents spread by contact, airborne, and droplets. What else have we been doing?
Washing our hands.
Hand sanitizing. What does that prevent or protect from? What aren't you doing? If you're washing your hands, contact. Yeah, protects by preventing spread by contact. And what's the one other thing we've been doing? And what does that prevent from? Direct contact? I will give you that one because it's not wrong.
I mean, yeah, trust me.
Yes, we all figured that one out, Harris.
No, we did. You got it first. That's what we did.
So what's it mainly protecting from? Droplets. Yeah, because droplets are airborne. All right. We have a skull. So Ardipithecus ramidus or Ardi was discovered in 1994 in Ethiopia in Eastern Africa. The fossil is one of the most complete fossils found today, including the skull shown below. teeth, pelvis, hands, and feet. It is dated at 4.4 million years old. Describe 2 features of the skull that distinguishes it from Homo sapiens. Yeah, if you didn't get that, I'm a little bit disappointed. Large canine, zygomatic arch.
You can see it right there.
You can see the zygomatic arch, it's right here. Yeah. Yep. Protruding canines, pronounced zygomatic arch. You can say lack of forehead. Cheek arch. Lack of forehead. Brow ridges. Yeah. It is thought that Ardi walked upright like a chimp on land, but was able to swing through the trees and move quadrupedally when arboreal. Describe 3 likely structural features of the pelvis fossil associated with Ardi. So even if you don't get it, the only reason to add that second statement in is to say that this person's going to be more like a chimpanzee. So this question is basically asking, what features did a chimpanzee have when it came to the pelvis? Guys?
Yes.
What features did, this question is literally asking you what features a pelvis.
Long, narrow. Yeah,
what features a chimpanzee has for a pelvis? So long and narrow. What else?
Small acetabulum.
Yep, shallow acetabulum. Long and narrow pelvis. Shallow acetabulum. What's an acetabulum?
It's the socket.
It is a socket where the femur attaches to. And what do we use the flared part of our pelvis for? We attach things to it. Yeah. Muscle attachments. Yeah, so you have decreased surface area for your gluteal muscles. So, describe 2 likely structural features of the foot. So, what are your primate features for the foot? If he was quadrupedal when he was in the trees, what would he use his feet for? Yeah, so what do you need to be? Yeah, prehensile big toe. Or opposability of the big toe. Toes aligned or not aligned? Good. What about the calcaneus bone? Good. Arches? Yep. Toes not aligned. small calcaneus bone. Longitudinal arch only. All right. Homo erectus existed between 2 million and 500,000 years ago. This species walked bipedally and had relatively complex lifestyle compared to that of Ardi. Describe 3 structural features of the skeleton of Homo erectus from the pelvis and below that would enable bipedalism, and explain how these features would assist with upright locomotion and posture. Well, this is basically instant answer question, but okay. So, pelvis. What do we have for a human pelvis? And it is?
Short.
Yep, pelvis is short, broad, and bowl-shaped. And what did it do? Yeah, it supported the abdominal organs for support of the abdominal organs. Pelvis is wide, what would that create? Yes, and? If your pelvis is going that way, but your knees are here,
Okay.
of the support of the abdominal organs, thank you. Allowed for carrying angles. And increased surface area for gluteal muscle attachments, which assisted with locomotion. So you could have said anything along those lines. What can you tell me about the knees? And large condyles, which one's larger? Yep, lateral, correct. So larger and flatter condyles. Jeez. We would say that lateral is bigger than medial. So outer is bigger than inner. And what does this allow for?
Weight bearing.
Yep, to support body weight. Okay. What can you tell me about the feet? Yep, so you have 2 arches in the foot. So longitudinal plus transverse. You have a large so you have a large big toe and calcaneus bone. And your toes are aligned, or your big toe is aligned with other toes. And this all allows for heel to toe striding gait locomotion. Okay, there's one other thing that you could have talked about.
Large femoral neck. Large femoral neck.
We've talked about large femoral neck, creates a carrying angle, which puts the central line of axis directly under the skull. Neck. Creates carrying angle. Pushing central line of axis. Directly under the skull. So the other thing you would have talked about, and it's kind of obvious, is that longer legs, which provides a lower center of gravity. Yes. That would be a better answer. Center of gravity. Increasing stability during bipedal locomotion. You needed any three of these to get 6 marks. Okay. When his flight is now delayed. He's now reaching at 1 AM. I don't know why he's in Jakarta. I'm very confused, but whatever. What is coming from Thailand? But... All right. Describe 3 features of the lifestyle of Homo erectus, including the tool culture associated with the species. So what is a tool culture for Homo erectus? Yep. Tool culture is, I don't know, this isn't part of your course anymore. I don't know why they still keep on asking it.
Did all the species live in groups?
Is a trillion, and they are,
Like both sides?
yeah, they are hand axes that are 5 flaked on both sides, probably the best way to do it. Okay, what else can we tell me about his culture?
Fire.
Yep, use fire. So this was for warmth, cooking, light and protection. Okay. They were organized, so they hunted in large groups, hunted cooperatively. I don't think so. I think it was a change that they made this year. So I'd be very surprised if these questions come up. And they possibly use language for communication. Because you guys haven't been taught this year, have you? All right. Provide 2 reasons for the decreased size in teeth of Homo erectus. Fire enabled what? Yep. Enabled food to be cooked. So less chewing was needed. What else? What's the obvious reason?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, Raveen. How are you?
Good. Did you get those pets, Mark?
I did.
Lovely.
I've got one ready for you.
Alright, sounds good.
Give me 10 minutes. I'll come get you sorted.
Oh, great.
You've got a bigger laptop today, a bigger iPad. We're moving up and on. I'm using it because I have these guys till 7:30.
Oh, okay. Right.
This is what happens when you have exams. You got to study some more.
How are you feeling for it? Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, realistically, all you can do now is not practice papers, so yeah.
If
You
you're
guys-
cramming at this point, you stopped.
Yeah, no, you should. Probably not gonna do too well.
Last practice that. It's like 4 weeks. Or practice.
Yeah. I was pretty much chilling at this time before my exams.
I'm sure you guys will be fine. Like, have you got your back your casters yet?
Oh, yeah.
You did. Yeah. Oh, I think I talked to you guys. I get mine back next week.
Oh,
But you guys did alright.
yeah. Not quite.
Not for like.
25 to 49%.
I'm sure everyone's like in that same boat, so.
Well, they're retarded
It's a
questions.
percentile, so.
No, but the percentiles against people against like in the US and like a degree.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like you're like.
Now you feel better, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't really care. Currently, I think to go.
He's like, it is beneath me.
Well, I'll see you guys later. Good luck for your exam stuff.
Thank you.
All right. So, what was the second big reason for why we had the decreased teeth? Yep, more meat and more meat eaten and less fibrous plant material in diet.
I just have some questions.
All right. I want to get you guys to start question 33 while I quickly get Raveen going for his class that's going to start soon. I was like, oh, this thing's got a password. I was like, let me try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It worked. Yeah.
All right.
It's actually Twinkles, but same. Don't mind me. I'm just copying the exam from here to across. Airdrop is the best shit that exists in the world, honestly.
Never actually used
It just makes life like a million times easier.
it. There. Structure. Super myself. It's not listening to this way.
Make sure to do your arrows. God forbid you're like that. That's just not.
Diabolical God.
Say that I'm done.
So he said one of my things was like, I wrote it like, do you remember my exam? Like, I drew the feedback loop like this.
Oh yeah. And then
And then he was like, you can't go left to right, left to right. No, he knew. I wrote everything I wrote down was right. And then he was like, no, that's just not logical, mate. No. Yeah. No, because at first he was like, oh, so you've done it like this. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'll get so.
He just doesn't want to tell himself that he made a mistake.
And then softly he just said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, mate. I can't help you. I can't help you.
That's a pretty good score.
Back to the problem. Harry Reeves. Just pull that. That's a diabolical, right? The biggest piece of shit I've ever read.
Shitting on your right.
Wait, just haven't read that. I haven't read that for me.
Remember the market like this, the
Oh yeah, the fold there for.
well, that's
fold.
true, right?
I've never seen that on live, man. But when he told me that, remember I made the following grammar error?
Oh yeah.
Are you serious, bro? I was about to say, sir, I'm English second language.
I actually feel impatient.
For the lecture response.
No, for the on the short answers on that section.
Oh
I
yeah.
wrote like up and then like down. This is like the question like here.
Yeah.
I wrote on the lines and then I
And
wrote
then like on the side.
and then I drew an arrow and I wrote down here. And then I drew an arrow and I wrote down. It's gonna be so bad with that. So, because you know, if I put everything I can.
Right, still
Yeah, well, I see it makes sense.
I drew the arrow like this, and he's like, no.
Wait, he didn't give you the marks.
No.
How many dudes for that?
I think he took off two.
He could have taken up the whole thing.
This is my big generous job.
Takes up all things.
Yeah, I could have been giving you negative. Alright. It's like I wrote he's like, no, you gotta write it here, mate. You gotta write it to the side of the arrow. That's the other why I lost that. So I lost one for doing like that, and I lost one for putting it in this. It's a side arrow thing.
Oh, you already did side arrow.
Sir, says it. I wrote it down. Wrote it down. No, you didn't write it down in the right place.
Like right next to it. No, he did that. That's a teacher.
What does it mind?
That doesn't matter. Actually, Mr. Wiggins.
Do me the biggest pest of my life.
It wasn't as like picky, but they did
See, it's one. Alright. Year 10. It just might be a short one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That's how Angus Officer got the biology prize in 2021.
2021, Mr. Bourne's marking on my short answer. He literally left out like 12 marks, was it?
Oh, yeah, something like that.
Because that's just what he predicted. I like it's like copy. You know the like form you put down? You know, like bro, I literally like copy and paste and shit straight good. Usually said exactly.
Looks like but no, you'd be a better number.
Not that ours is Batman.
No, I don't think so. Batman's a bit well, but no.
I probably didn't know that. Oh, fuck. Oh, so this one.
So it's one exam. You did really well.
Suspiciously like that. No. Oh, yes. Some multiple choice really superb, you know. Yeah. Remember, I've been using coaching systems.
I think I might need to.
Yeah, I might need some.
110%. That's something else.
It's hard as well.
I can't have it with that.
That's what everyone thinks.
I'm honestly you.
You did so good, he gave me the extra 10%.
That's how we
After class, you know. You didn't absolutely keep that. I mean, physically, I think this has been about 3 times better motion. You did not have. But that one, you know that one?
Which one?
The last.
Oh yeah.
It was out of like 46.
Yeah.
Okay, but it was out of like 50.
Out of
It was out of 50, but it was out of 40. It was out of 45.
no, it was out of it's out of like 55, but he thought it was like no, it was out of like 60 or
No,
something.
it was a short.
It was one of the revision.
No, it wasn't a revision test. It was the last not a revision test. It was
Oh
we
yeah,
got
yeah,
this extra charge. Because I don't know what he did, but he subtracted the 1 3 got or something like that.
Yeah.
Right, I don't get it. You not know this is crazy.
But that was
So-
It's gonna be for the 5 series. I mean, this is the I5. I imagine the 5 series is gonna have a similar look. They're going for the freaking F90 and 5. That looks like it doesn't look terrible compared to some of the designs that we did, but it looks so boring. It's very, it's like a core. That's
That's
not
so
better than that.
That's so boring. It doesn't look aggressive.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
crew
everyone
has to be
has to-
lower, and this has to be like more.
No, this is the old.
It's the other
Really? The Empires, maybe the Empires.
What is absolutely cooked it? Sorry, guys.
That one looks more this, but
Okay, question 33. Many people carry water bottles, guys, with them throughout the day and can drink more than 2 liters of water per day. This results in frequent visits to the bathroom. Cool. State the name of the gland that produces a hormone that controls water concentration. So state the name of the gland that secretes. Yep, posterior lobe of the pituitary.
sorry.
Clearly not attentively enough. Use a steady state model to describe the response of a body to drinking large volumes of water. Yep, feedback loop. So what is your stimulus?
Lower body pressure.
Yep, decreased osmotic pressure. Yeah, remember that means high water concentration, osmotic have a inverse relationship. So when your water pressure, or when your water concentration is high, your osmotic pressure is low. So that's your stimulus. What is your receptor?
Receptors are
Does that mean high blood pressure? What does that mean?
Yeah. So when you have more water, it means a high blood pressure. Osmoreceptors in the hypothalamus. All right, modulator. What does your posterior pituitary gland do?
Isn't the hypothalamus the modulator?
You could probably do either. It's not worth 6 marks to do the whole thing though.
You said both.
So if you really wanted to do the whole thing, you say the modulator is, oh no, it is your hypothalamus. I apologies, I'm just cooked. Hypothalamus, this is the correct way of doing it. Which, yeah, which sends nerve impulses to the posterior lobe of pituitary to release ADH. Antidiuretic hormone then acts on the walls of the distal convoluted tubule and collecting ducts of the nephrons in the kidneys. The response to this is increased permeability of the walls.
Yeah, because it's more water.
Oh, yes. Sorry. This is wrong. It's not going to release ADH. I've cooked it. Release less ADH. And then it's going to be a decrease in the permeability. Permeability of the walls to water. So you have a reduction in water reabsorption into capillaries And then you have your negative feedback. Yeah. So this is going to be an increased osmotic pressure. You're peeing it all out. So describe the volume and concentration of urine that results. So you will have a increased volume, decreased concentration. Oh. Okay, this sounds a bit horrific, but let's go on. Following an accident involving severing of a large blood vessel, hemorrhaging may occur. No shit. This will cause a decrease in blood volume. Name a different hormone from that referred to an A and B that would be secreted to maintain blood volume and describe how it works. Aldosterone. So aldosterone also acts on the walls of the distal convoluted tubules and collecting ducts of the nephrons in the kidneys. They will increase the reabsorption of sodium and water will generally follow salt. So water follows salt.
Shouldn't we say because of osmotic pressure?
Yeah.
So do we have to say decreased reabsorption of K plus?
It's not really going to affect the blood volume, but yeah, it is what it does. H2O follows salt due to shift in osmotic pressure. And this maintains the blood volume. Hey, Ravine.
Hi, Pooja. I think we need one more exam paper.
Okay, I will print it off. Can you just grab one of them to get it from here?
Yeah, great.
Perfect.
I'll get some to go. Right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Pooja. See you later.
Bye. All right, 2 seconds, guys. All right. So when someone has suffered by a traumatic incident, they often hyperventilate as a response to pain and shock. This often results in a person suffering from apnea or cessation of breathing, causing them to faint. Explain why apnea may occur This is such a retarded question. When a person hyperventilates, it's worth 5 marks. So this is probably asking for a feedback system. So what's happening to someone when they're hyperventilating? Yeah. So stimulus is a decrease. See ya. Thanks, Ethan. That's Ethan. He's couldn't for today. Ethan's a more organized couldn't, actually.
I won't take that.
I'll be telling you.
You can tell him that. He knows I feel that way.
Okay.
So, no, decreased CO2 concentration. And what does this do to pH?
Decrease.
It increases pH.
Oh, increase in CO2.
So, receptors are chemoreceptors in the aortic and carotid bodies detect bodies and the medulla oblongata. So what is your modulator then? Anyone? Yep. And it decreases nerve transmissions to the diaphragm and intercostal muscles.
You have to name the nerves.
So you asked this question.
You should. Phrenic and intercostal nerves. So to the diaphragm and intercostal muscles. And the response is to decrease the rate and depth of breathing, resulting in an apnea. Yes? Why is there so much space for that? I don't know. 5 points, 5 marks. Okay, can we be done with this? We've done scientific inquiry to death. All right, let's just go straight to 35. Ay. Describe the process of PCR. What is step 1? What temperature?
95 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, so 95, 98, anywhere around there. So step 1, the mixture is heated to 95 to 98 degrees Celsius.
Do you have to say like what chemicals?
No. Denaturing DNA strands, which results in strand separation. Okay, so this disturbs the hydrogen bonds between the bases. Okay, then what do we lower the temperature down to? Yep, step 2, temp lowered to 55 to 65 degrees Celsius, and you have primers introduced, which bind to the single strands of DNA. Then what do we up it to?
Elongation of 72 degrees Celsius.
Yep, temp increased to 72 degrees Celsius. So Taq polymerase assembles 3 nucleotides to produce complementary DNA strands. And then what happens? Cycle is repeated. Is repeated to increase amplification. Okay. What picture is that? Yep. Recombinant DNA. Gel, electro, or
You said the right thing. Oh, I was joking.
ESIS.
Bro, why you guys guess that? I don't get it. We're just asking so.
Like you said, but
Mate, Sid is like, it's like pitch black outside and he's still sitting in the dark. You can barely see him. It's just like the black screen.
You can barely see it.
The only light you can see is on his face, which is coming back from his computer. No bananas today, though. I feel like he's scared to eat them.
You're gonna get like 5 from
He says he ran out of bananas. Unfortunate. All right. Explain how the method showed in the diagram works to separate DNA. What must happen to DNA first?
treated with restriction enzyme.
Yep. Step 1, DNA is treated with restriction enzymes. And then DNA fragments are loaded into wells. Then what must you do? Yeah, an electric current is applied to the gel. The gel. And with the positive electrode on the opposite side to the wells. Negatively charged DNA strands move to the positively charged electrode. Your smaller fragments move faster and further than the larger fragments. And what does this create? Creates a banding pattern that represents a DNA fingerprint. Hello?
Why is there no year 11 human bio on Zoom?
Because I tried to call you 4 times, you didn't pick up, because I can't log into Zoom on Twinkle's iPad because it's not up to date and I don't know your iCloud password. So we are recording it separately.
Recording the year 11 human bio.
On the screen, yes. I'm not an idiot.
Okay, fine, no worries. So, because I sent it on the WhatsApp group with my password to kunjana@icloud.com.
Yeah, but that's not your iCloud password for the App Store.
I've got all the apps. No, that's my iCloud password for anyway. Leave it with me.
Okay, bye. I called him 4 times. What do you want me to do?
That's so true.
So you have to deal with him. It doesn't seem like me and him are very aggressive to each other on the phone.
No, it's
No,
just, he
it's
seems
just
more
a-
Indian on the phone. Like,
Me?
No,
he
Him?
sounds a lot more.
Yeah, he
Indian.
does. We sound different when we talk to each other. Well, not me, I'm just full Aussie.
To be honest, that's it.
All right.
I mean, I do as well.
State 2 uses for this method of comparing DNA. What do we use this for?
Crime scene identification.
Yep, forensics for crime.
Tests.
Yep. I mean, if you have to get a maternity test done, seriously dodgy what's going on with your life, but
I mean, maybe because it's swapped at all.
yeah, something's happened dodgy in your life though, right? Forensics for crime, paternity, maternity testing. You can do maternity testing. Anything else?
Yeah, profile.
No. We use it for evolutionary forensics as well, so to see relatedness.
What about that? So that's just bringing up hormone.
Yeah.
Use it for that.
Yeah. That's evolutionary forensics. Make sense? Wonderful. Define mutation. Oh my God. We did this question like 50 times last week.
Actually, if you don't get it right, I can give you the next one. How about you go first? No, go ahead.
So a mutation is what?
A permanent random spontaneous change in the DNA sequence.
Yep.
Yeah,
A
basically.
permanent
Oh. You don't need it.
random. He's allowed to correct himself. Spontaneous change in the base sequence of DNA. This is not part of the course. Do we remember what non-disjunction is?
When strands of chromosomes fail to separate.
Yeah, failure of the chromatids to separate during meiosis.
Well, Down syndrome caused by
Yes, it is. There's a few different ones. So you have Down syndrome. Klinefelter's syndrome, Klinefelter's disease, Felter's, and then there's Turner syndrome as well. Any of these would have done. All right. Explain why a germline mutation would have a greater effect on allele frequency in the gene pools compared to somatic mutations. So where do germline mutations happen?
sex of
Yep.
gametes.
Germline mutations occur in the gamete, which means that these can be,
Inherited.
can be passed to successive generations. Somatic mutations happen in the and only the individual with the mutation is affected. So it can't not be inherited. All right. Gene flow is essential for changes to the gene pool. Name and describe two barriers to gene flow between human populations.
To religion. Big question.
Sociocultural, religion. And how does this prevent gene flow? Okay. I love that you think that you need marriage to do that, to pass gene flow.
I think
It's a politically correct terminology.
it is.
So sociocultural barriers, cultural, oh my God. Barriers such as religion, social position, education background, all of them. Religion, socio-cultural background. I spelled background wrong. Economic status. Which prevents individuals of different status from reproducing with each other. Race would probably be another one as well. What else do we have?
Geological barriers.
Yep, geological barriers. Such as mountains and lakes. See ya. Lakes and oceans, which creates a physical barrier between individuals. Yes? All right.
Why? You're thinking it's.
Next question. Oh, we've done pretty well. Using the diagram above to contrast the mode of action of steroid and lipid soluble and protein water soluble hormones. So best thing to do for this is a table. So we would do steroid, which is lipid soluble and protein. So lipid soluble hormones can diffuse through the cell membrane. So, and protein hormones cannot pass through the cell membrane. So that means that lipid soluble hormones bind to intracellular receptors on or in the nucleus and mitochondria. These bind to extracellular receptors on the surface of the cell membrane. So lipid-soluble hormones or your protein steroid, no, your steroid hormones form hormone receptor complexes. And they create a change in the,
Gene expression.
yeah.
Can we tell that from the diagram above?
You can use, so it says use, it doesn't say from the diagram.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but not similar.
Yeah, but then how would you get all of your marks?
Don't just, you need 6 points. Or you need 3 comparisons.
You need 3 comparisons.
Oh, so. Oh,
This last one is 1 mark.
oh.
I just like to do it as 4, so I split it up easily. This is 1. This is 1, and then this last one is 1. So results in change of gene expression so these ones stimulate secondary messengers. And what do these secondary messengers do?
Alter enzyme.
Which change enzyme activity. All right. Next question. The pituitary gland secretes many hormones and despite being referred to as the master gland, is controlled by the hypothalamus. Describe the relationship between the anterior pituitary and the hypothalamus. Aaron, you look tired. That's fine. Okay, you're allowed to be tired. Describe the relationship between the anterior pituitary and the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus, how does it control the anterior pituitary? How does it do it?
Releasing and inhibiting factors.
Releasing and inhibiting factors. Which travel via capillary network to the anterior lobe of the pituitary. This stimulates or inhibits the anterior lobe of the pituitary from releasing
Harris, you're right. Just ask.
hormones.
But it doesn't go. It's just wrong. This lightning capillary network
fluids that are surrounding it.
Yeah, you could say that, but you can't say why.
No, it's
No.
not. You want to get them off.
Via and surrounding is different. Via is through.
Rob, give me a second, man.
So describe how positive feedback control systems are different to negative feedback. So positive is where the response does what?
Intensified.
Yep.
Reinforced.
Positive feedback occurs when the response intensifies or reinforces the stimulus. Negative feedback is the opposite. So negative feedback occurs when the response inhibits or reduces stimulus. That's an easy question. All right. Extended answer, 38. Let's have a go at this one. The first one is easy peasy. Name 3 types of neurons. Here we go. We're going to do this. We're going to take screenshot. And then we're going to copy it. We're going to paste. All right. Name the 3 types of neurons that enable spinal reflexes to occur and describe the function of each. So first kind of neuron we have is a sensory neuron. What does a sensory neuron do?
Carries the impulse from the receptors to the central nervous system.
Yep. From the receptors to the central nervous system. This one specifically is going to be the spinal cord via the dorsal root. Okay, then we have a interneuron. Where do we find the interneuron in a reflex? White matter of the spinal cord? Yep. So interneuron is, you can make mistakes in my class as long as you learn from them. There's nothing wrong with it. So located in the grey matter of the spinal cord, and they relay the nerve impulse from the sensory neuron to a motor neuron. And the last one we have is the motor neuron. What does that one do?
CNS effectors.
Yep. So it carries the nerve impulse from the spinal cord to the effector via the dorsal root. This would be the easiest 6 marks, in my opinion. 1 mark for name, 1 mark for description. Okay, let's have a look at the next part to this question. This is such a common question. I've seen it so many times. All right. So describe the transmission of an impulse along an unmyelinated neuron and explain the differences between the impulses. All right. First thing we have to say is at resting membrane, at rest, you need to explain what the concentrations are. So there is a high concentration of what ions outside and of sodium ions in the extracellular environment. And a high concentration of potassium ions and large organic anions in the intracellular environment. What would this create? Yeah. Environment creating an overall negative membrane potential. Okay, so the inside is more negatively charged than the outside. So when you have a nerve impulse, so when you have a stimulus, and what must the stimulus do or be or have? Yeah. So a stimulus, no, that's really a stimulus great. So when you have a stimulus that is greater than threshold potential, it stimulates opening of sodium channels, leading to an influx of sodium ions, which causes a reversal in the charge. And this process is called? Perfect. This is followed by repolarization. And what happens during repolarizations? Two things.
Efflux of closing of sodium ion channels.
Yep, where sodium ion channels close.
Opening of potassium.
And become inactive. And you have a opening of potassium channels, which causes an efflux of potassium, and therefore the charge reverses back. Okay. So what happens in unmyelinated fibers? This,
Depolarization of the next segment.
yeah, it causes depolarization in the next segment. So unmyelinated fibers, depolarization of one segment stimulates depolarization of the adjacent segment, and this is a faster or slower process? In myelinated fibers, I spelled that so wrong. Depolarization jumps from?
One row to fragment.
Yeah, depolarization jumps from one node of Ranvier to the next, which is a more rapid process. Any questions? Pretty straightforward? Wonderful. All right, I reckon we can do the last one. Okay. So explain what is meant by the all or nothing response when referring to nerve impulses. So nerve impulses that trap, what do we mean by all or nothing response? That all of your nerve impulses are of the? They have to be the threshold, but like each and every nerve impulse is going to be exactly the same strength. You're not going to have one weaker or stronger than another. So nerve impulses that travel along a fiber are all the same strengths. Okay. And then this is when you start talking about things like threshold. So if the stimulus reaches threshold potential, reaches threshold potential, then sodium channels will open and an action potential is created. If the stimulus is below threshold, then sodium channels do not open and no impulse occurs. Okay, you should therefore make a statement that the impulse will either be triggered or not, depending on the stimulus strength. That's it for that one. All right, I think we can, like, really quickly smash out the first one. It's a pretty easy one. You just have to do the feedback loop. All right, Perth has recently claimed the hottest summer record. No one gives a shit. Explain the physiological response to high environmental temperature that allows a person to maintain a homeostasis. This question, was it basically asking you? It's asking you for the feedback loop for a high external temperature. Okay, what's our stimulus? High external temperature. No, high external temperatures can stimulate it as well. High environmental temperatures.
Doesn't homeostasis internal? Because the internal, yeah, the primary.
So it's asking, this question specifically is asking for the physical response to high. So it has to be a stimulus. Okay. I know it's weird, but just trust me. So stimulus is high external temperatures. Which receptors pick that up? Which receptors?
Primary.
No, you've got thermoreceptors. Which kind of thermoreceptors? Peripheral. So you have peripheral thermoreceptors in your skin and mucous membranes. Why do you think you feel cold, for example, after you like drink something really, like if you have like an ice cream or something, a lot of people feel cold straight away afterwards. It's not because their body temperature is decreased. It's because their cold receptors and the mucous membranes are stimulated that causes that response. It's a thing.
Never felt cold for a while after eating ice cream.
Really? I do. Like if I eat an ice cream, I'll start shivering.
Only my mouth, like I can feel it in my mouth and like.
Maybe it's just my smaller surface area.
Why does it feel good if you drink alcohol?
That just screws up your central nervous system. A lot of people have a reaction to it though, where they actually produce more histamine and they get quite hot and flushed.
Asian flush.
Yeah, because of the histamine
But I
release.
mean, like, if you have like spirits, it tastes like a fire.
Ah, that's just receptors that are stimulated because of alcohol. So receptors are peripheral thermoreceptors. So peripheral, hot or cold? Yeah, peripheral hot thermoreceptors in the skin and mucous membranes. What is your modulator? Hypothalamus, wonderful. Modulator. Guys, relax, we're not done yet. Guys are in such a rush. What is your effectors for this one? There's only two. Sweat and? Yeah. Correct. So you have your sweat glands and the blood vessels in the skin surface. Your response is vasodilation. Oh no, we'll do the sweat glands first. So sweating, you should always, if you're doing it for extended answer, say what sweating is. Okay, don't assume that people know what sweating is. There's always a mark for it. Okay, so it's release of water and salts to the skin surface. And you have a cooling effect from the, yeah, from evaporation of sweat. And you have vasodilation of blood vessels to the skin. Okay, these blood vessels are arterioles as well. So this increases blood flow to the skin surface. And how are we losing heat? Increasing heat loss via? Yes, it's all three. Heat loss by conduction, convection, and radiation. Okay. And this basically stops the person from getting hot, prevents increase in internal body temp. All right. Any questions? Great. We will leave it at that. I will see you guys all same time next week. The guys on Zoom, this will be the code from now on, just because I have to have the different account for the reading class at the same time. All right. No worries. See you guys.
Cheers.